Hi, welcome back, and today we are tier listing all of season 10 of Doctor Who from 1972 to 1973. So the first serial is The Three Doctors, which is the 10th anniversary special of Doctor Who. The first of many anniversary specials in this show. And this is also the first time that we see past Doctors come back to interact with current Doctor. And we love to see it. It was really lovely to see Patrick Troughton back in the role and to see William Hartnell again, even though his part was smaller and he only appeared on a screen in the TARDIS, but we still love to see it. We love to see them all back together. And I think the dynamic between the third and the second Doctors was brilliant. It was kind of like the Day of the Doctor with Matt Smith and David Tennant was the third Doctor and the second Doctor, and then the first Doctor would be the War Doctor just going, oh, honestly. That was kind of the dynamic of the team, and I really enjoyed that. This serial got a 4 overall in rating. I did really enjoy it, and I think it is quite a complex, interesting story. So a lot to love on this one. One thing I have in this, the Brigadier obviously was a part of this, and I do love the Brigadier, but he's just not the brightest when it comes to time and space stuff, is he? He's good at military stuff, just not time and space stuff, really. And he rarely listens to the Doctor on these things that he clearly knows more about, even though he's seen time and time again that the Doctor's generally right about these things. So it kind of annoys me that even though the Brigadier is an intelligent character and does know the Doctor knows what he's on about, he'll still try and take charge and try and figure out himself rather than just accepting what the Doctor says is true. Also, at the end of the serial, the Doctor's exile is ended by the Time Lords and he gets a new dematerialisation circuit. And I like the fact that the Doctor's exile ends with a reason. So in the War Games, he's exiled for a reason, and in The Three Doctors, his exile was ended for a reason. And I do quite like that. I just think it's nice that it's significant, you know? But on to the antagonist of the episode, Omega, who is one of the 3 founding Time Lords of Gallifrey. He is such a tragic character. Seriously, he's a big bad villain in this and every episode that he's in going forward, of which there's only one, because I don't know what that fucking giant CGI monstrosity was in the latest season, but it was not Omega. No. So Omega may be completely insane, but there is a reason for that, and I completely understand it. I understand why he's insane. I understand why he's upset and pissed off with the Time Lords. His story is so tragic. It's really sad. He's such a believable Time Lord villain, more so than any other, really. He was an explorer and he landed in this antimatter universe, and then he was just forgotten about and left behind, and no one apparently tried to save him. I mean, I get on the other hand why they didn't try and save him, because it's dangerous, but still, he's just left there on his own. If he's going to be alone in this place, he's going to go insane, he's going to grow bitter, and all of that together is going to make him go mad. His whole I should have been a god thing is completely believable when you think that he's been stuck alone in this antimatter universe with only his bitterness and his anger left with him. And he's completely nothingness now. His clothes are standing up from his own willpower because he has no body anymore. His form has completely gone. And also, when you think that that was Rassilon's plan in The End of Time, back in series 4.5, Rassilon's plan was to make all Time Lords consciousness alone. But is that not what Omega's suffering from? That just shows how absolutely crazy Rassilon's plan was in The End of Time and why no one should have wanted that. To live as consciousness alone is a terrifying idea. So I understand why Omega was a villain, and I think it's such a believable villain and a good villain for this story. And considering he's one of the first Time Lords as well, I think it works really well having him as the villain for the big multi-Doctor 10th anniversary special of the show. So with all that being said, I think I'm going to put the 3 Doctors into Fantastic. It's not the best anniversary special I've ever seen, but I do really like it. I think it was a good serial and a good way to honour the 10th anniversary of the show. And the MVP for the episode is Benton. I know I don't do main characters for MVP, but I do see the unit characters more as side characters, so I'm allowing it on this one. Next up is Carnival of Monsters. This serial got a 4 overall, and I do really like this one. I remembered this one from my first watch as being one that I wanted to get back to, because I do think this one's really a clever story and a fun one as well. It's a really interesting concept that the Doctor and Jo are stuck in this little, what's it called? A miniscope, and they're travelling between little fake fake environments to try and escape the miniscope. And I think it's really good because they don't know what's going on, and it's not confirmed that they're in there for a little while into the serial, but I think it all works really well. It's just a fun adventure, really. For some reason I can't really explain. When I was rewatching this one, I thought it would have actually been a really good adventure for the 13th Doctor, maybe with Yaz and Dan. If you've seen my ranking video of the Doctors, you'll know that I don't really appreciate the 13th Doctor much, but I think this serial would have been quite a fun one for her and Yaz and Dan to go on the adventure of. So I think this one's quite a good one. I think I'm going to put this one into Fantastic as well, you know? As I say, it is a good story, it's an interesting concept, and I really did enjoy it, so I'm going to put that one into Fantastic as well. And the MVP for the episode is Shurna. Next up is Frontier in Space. This serial was the final appearance of Roger Delgado as the Master, and I think it was a great story, to be honest. There's another scene with Jo and the Master, which is brilliant. The Master has the Doctor and Jo captured, obviously, because of course he does, and Jo has to distract him whilst the Doctor escapes, does what he wants to do and gets back in there again. And Jo's way of distracting the Master, because he's watching them and listening to them through a camera, she just talks. She stands up and walks in front of the camera and she just talks, just constantly talking to herself, but as if she's talking to the Doctor. And the Master just sits there reading a book because he's bored of her chatter. And I just think that was brilliant. Jo is such an underrated companion. I think she does get recognition, but not enough, clearly. She's amazing. Also, there was another moment in this one with the Doctor and the Master when the governor of the Lunar Penal Colony was going against the Doctor in some way, and the Master completely backed him up. It was really adorable because no one's going to kill the Doctor unless it's the Master. He's not going to let anyone else hurt his bestie. Nah. Gonna be him or no one. So I do like that. That was a really cute scene. Overall, the serial got 4. I thought it was another mixed bag of episodes. The story overall was interesting, and you knew at some point the Master was going to pop up in this one because it's like something's going on here. You know the Master's going to be involved somehow, and he was. So I think I'm going to put this one . I don't know if I'm just being generous on this or not, but I think I'm going to put it into Fantastic again. None of them are 5s, but they're all fantastic. So, and the MVP for the serial is Patel. I'm pretty sure he was only in like 3 scenes or something, but he made an impact. He was a good guy. He was a good guy. Next up is Planet of the Daleks, which did feature the Daleks, but it wasn't their planet, so I'm very, very confused on the title. Weird. The serial overall got a 3, but only just. It wasn't my favourite serial. I didn't enjoy it all that much, to be honest. Daleks are very hit and miss with me, same as Cybermen. Either give me a good story or don't bother, you know? This is another story where someone fell in love with Jo because everyone's constantly falling in love with Jo. One thing I did think about this actually is because the Spiridon people are all invisible, it did make me wonder whether this was actually the same planet as the one from the Ark. Because in the Ark, they go to a planet which has not necessarily invisible people, but they're sort of, it's like the Omega thing, they're beings of consciousness alone, but they can also move things and stuff on their planet. So it makes me think maybe this was like an earlier point in that planet's history, because we never find out what that planet was or who those people were with a name, so it could possibly be the same planet. I don't know. Probably not, but potential there. The Daleks in this episode were very adorable because they were asking for help. I think it was when someone was pushing it into a lake or something. But when Daleks ask for help, it's really adorable. Because these are psycho killers. They're like, help me, help me. It's adorable when they ask for help. So yeah, I think the Doctor was pushing one into a lake at the time that he was asking for help. It just reminds me of the moment in Journey's End in series 4 of New Who, when Donna's doing her little thing and they're all spinning around and then spinning the other way and they're just like, help, help, help. Because it's really funny and adorable when they ask for help. Now, where am I going to put it? Oh, I think I'm going to put this one into Wibbly Wobbly. I don't really... It's not one that I would willingly rewatch. If I hadn't have been doing a Classic Who rewatch anyway, it's not one I would leap to watch again. So I think I'm going to put it in Wibbly Wobbly. And the MVP for the serial is Kodo. And finally we have The Green Death, which is unfortunately Joe's last episode. And I will say I think Joe's departure was the one that hit the Doctor hardest since Susan left, because Joe did kind of feel very familial with the Doctor. She felt like she could easily have been his daughter or granddaughter. So I think this is the one that's hit the hardest since Susan left. At least for me it did. Because I felt their relationship, and then she leaves and it's very sad. But she left on good terms and she left doing something that she would enjoy. So we're happy for Jo. She wasn't abandoned by her own grandfather, so she's fine. This serial got a 2 overall. Technically it got the same scores as the last serial, so it should be a 3 overall, but I don't want it to have a 3, I want it to be a 2. So it is a 2.5, but I'm rounding it down to 2.49. It's a 2 overall. It's not a bad serial, I just don't enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy it the first time I watched it, and I didn't enjoy it this time either. It's sad, but it's true. Back to Joe's departure. We all know that I hate my classic companion departures where there's a really terrible love story involved. Now this one, it's more believable. I can see it more and believe it more because Joe and Professor What's-His-Face were together for a lot of the serial and you could see stuff developing between them. Not enough, but you could see it. So it's a bit more believable. However, when he first meets her, he calls her a kid, and later he refers to her as a child. And then by the end of the serial, they're together. It's just creepy. It's creepy, okay? Don't call someone you're interested in that way a child. Please, don't do it. Because Joe's not a child, okay? She's not a child. She is an adult. She's an adult with a full-time job. She's not a child. Also, I swear Joe was never as clumsy as she was in this serial before. Like, I swear she's never been that clumsy. In this serial, suddenly she's falling all over the place and throwing things about by mistake. I swear she's never been like that before. It was weird. Sticking with Jo for a bit, again, we see just how much moxie she's got in this serial, which we love to see. There's a moment when she's been made to feel really low and really bad about herself because she's so clumsy and because she's useless. But she's not useless, and she's going to prove that. She knows that they need one of these maggot creatures, so she's going to go out and find one. And she does. She just leaves a little note and she's like, right, I'm off. And she just goes off to find a maggot creature. It doesn't quite work. But the point is that she tried. She went out there, she tried to do the job, and we love her for it. She weren't taking their shit. She was like, no, I'm going to go do something useful. I do wonder whether Boss, the robotic villain, was originally supposed to be the Master, because Roger Delgado, Frontier in Space was his last episode because he passed away. And I do wonder whether he was supposed to be in this one originally and they had to rewrite it, because Boss just sounded like the way he spoke, this robot thing, it just sounded like the Master, and it seemed like a scheme the Master would pull. So I do wonder whether it was supposed to be him or not. I could be wrong, I'm not saying it was that. That's just how it felt to me, that it was supposed to originally be the Master. One random thought though is the Doctor and Yates going undercover at this place was brilliant. The Doctor as the cleaning lady, fantastic, I love it. That I really loved, when the Doctor was the cleaning lady and Yates being undercover, and there's a moment with the lift where he gets in the lift with one of the bad guys, and then as the door's closing he's like, oh no, I forgot my thing. The bad guy's gone and Yates goes off to meet up with the Doctor. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, overall it was okay. I didn't really enjoy it much, other than what that bit I've just said. I didn't really enjoy it overly. I think the biggest thing for this episode is Joe's departure, which, as I said, is the hardest one since Susan left. And yeah, the love story there was okay, but it wasn't brilliant, especially considering the marriage. The marriage came out of nowhere. Going off to the Amazon with this guy and getting together with him, okay. But he was like, and we're getting married. And she's like, what now? Sorry, what? What was that? Marriage? What? Yeah, that was all very, very sudden and weird. Overall, her departure was probably one of the better love story departures for the show. As for where I'm placing it in the tier list, I think it's going to go into Wibbly Wobbly again, because I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. There were definitely good moments in there, and I didn't hate it as much as I have done other serials, so I don't want to put it in Scarrow Sewers, and I don't feel that Doctor Who's right for it either, so I'm going to put it in Wibbly Wobbly. But yeah. And the MVP for that episode is Mark Elgin. But that's the tier list done for season 10. Bit of a weird one this season. The first 3 serials are all fantastic, and the latter 2 are wibbly wobbly. There's a big gap between them. Nothing's really upgrade in progress. So yeah, it's a weird season to me. And it's a shame that it's Jo's departure season and I didn't really enjoy her departure episode. Because no matter what I feel about a companion's departure, the episode that they're in is usually okay. This one I didn't really enjoy. A bit upsetting on that part, but other than that, I think it's okay. At least there are 3 in Fantastic. Season stats. The most common score of the season was a 4, and the average overall was 3.31. So this season had several good quotes. Again, there are 2 that I really like that are to do with de-glorifying the concept of war, which I do think are good. And then there are some funny ones in the 3 Doctors to do with the second Doctor and his recorder, which is quite fun. But I think the one I might go for as the quote of the season is going to be a fun quote between the Doctor and the Master. So the Master says, "I have devoted my life to the cause of law and order, and law and order can only exist in a time of peace." And the Doctor says, "You feeling all right, old chap?" I just like that one because it was Delgado Master's last serial, and I liked the fact that that just shows how friendly they are with each other. Even though they are enemies, they're best frenemies, they're besties. Besties for the resties, you know? So I do like that one. There are others that are more poignant and more thought-provoking, and if you want to know what those are, let me know and I'll tell you in the comments, but that's one I picked for the quote of the season for this one. But that is my tier list for season 10 done. So what are your thoughts? Do you think I put the top 3 too high? Do you think I should have been kinder to the Green Death? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for season 11.